Yeah, I've started recording.
Okay. Are you guys ready? I'm ready when you guys
Yes.
are.
I think I am.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are you sure?
Yes, of
Yes.
course.
Because if you start going here, there is no going back. Eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, valued colleagues. Welcome to the SABWiL Human Rights Moot Court interviews for the year 2020. Here we are joined by the defendant, or the respondent rather. I think I'm gonna need to cut that one, hey? I need to start on. You guys are the respondent, you're not the defendant.
Yeah, the respondent.
Okay. Good morning, valued colleagues. Welcome to SABWiL Human Rights Moot Court interviews for the year 2020. Today here we are joined by the respondent. First we have Ms. Milli Bhila as the senior counsel and Ms. Tazlyn as the junior counsel. For the interest of our viewers at home, and starting with you, Ms. Bhila, who is Milli Bhila?
Me. Okay. Well, oh wait. How do we describe ourselves here? Is it in terms of?
Let's do the quickest bio that you have, your current perhaps academic status,
Okay.
you so far. Yeah, things like that.
Okay, so I'm just a simple person. I just graduated, I think 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yes. So next year I'll be commencing with my law school. I mean, probably after that I'll do articles or something. I don't know. I'll see from there. Yeah. There's not much about me. I'm just a simple person, honestly.
Educated. Congratulations on your completion of your LLB degree.
Thank
I'm sure
you.
it must have taken quite great commitment to complete it.
It was, especially completing the degree with UNISA. Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah.
Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And now proceeding to Ms. Tazlyn Lee. Who is Ms. Tazlyn Lee?
Well, I just completed my first year of BA Law
Okay.
at the University of Pretoria, not the university I thought I would be at, but here we are. I would say that Tazlyn is she's a very intelligent woman. She's very I know she has just started out with law and like getting into the legal side of everything, and she's trying her best to like understand and do well. And she knows that she will, because this is her passion, you know? I would say I'm very, very, very interested in constitutional law at the moment, focusing on, I guess, the constitutional rights of many South Africans, because even though our constitution is it's a very good constitution, you know, it accommodates everyone regardless of race, gender, sexuality, disability, or disability, other factors and whatnot, but I think that it's not really I think that despite having such a good constitution, we still have many people disadvantaged in the country. And I think that I'd really, really like to help. I'd really like to help them. I love to help people. And I think that the law is, well, my way of trying to help people, specifically women and children.
Thank you, Tazlyn. That's very, very, very good. Like you mentioned that you are doing your best, of which I believe your best is the best currently. Congratulations on starting with your journey on your BA law, and yeah, that's good thing. Now, guys, let's start from the beginning. How did you find out about SABWiL Moot Court?
For me, actually, I discovered the SABWiL Moot Court, I think last year. but then I couldn't participate last year. And then this year, the applicant is the one that actually told me about the SABWiL Moot Court, and he told me that we should try and participate. And I was like, I've never mooted before, so it's a bit of a challenge. But then still, I went on. I was like, let me try and do it. Anyways, I just graduated, and I'm still trying to see where exactly do I fit in this legal fraternity. And I decided, why not try this mooting? I have nothing to lose. Yeah, so that's basically how I found out about it.
Okay. Thanks to the applicant for informing you about the Moot Court.
Definitely.
We really appreciate them. We'll have to congratulate them in person for that. We have in great deal. And coming to Tazlyn, how did you find out about Moot Court, the SABWiL Moot Court to be particular?
I found out about it from, I'd say, a family friend. She is a practicing attorney, and I reached out to her because I thought it would be like a good idea to start, I guess, getting involved or getting a bit of knowledge on the work that attorneys and advocates do, just so that I could be very certain about where like I would go once I've completed my studies. And one day she actually recommended the SABWiL Moot Court, and she was like, you should really participate in this. I think it would be a very good opportunity for you. And yeah, that's how I found out about it. I searched through the website. I'd actually looked through and watched some of the previous moot courts that the SABWiL Court had in the past, and I was certain that like this would actually be a really good opportunity for me.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, we also have to thank her for referring you to the SABWiL Moot Court, right? And have you ever participated in any moot court before? Since you do mention that you are in your early years of your studies.
I actually did. Earlier in the year before the pandemic hit, I did try out for my university had a first year's league, and it's actually pretty funny because on the day, I remember on the 16th of March, that was when me and my partner had to go and present our cases. And as soon as we got to the building, they said, sorry guys, you guys have to go home. It's not happening anymore. First year's league is canceled. But I did have I guess a little bit of experience because we did I've seen moot before previous years in primary school, high school, and we did do quite a bit of work before we had to present our case. It's just a shame that we didn't get to, but yeah.
That's very unfortunate. We really do wish that at least you should have. But be that as it may, we're very happy that you started with us, like a formal moot court. I must say that you guys' performance was very outstanding, and this begs the question: how did you guys, as a team, prepare for moot court despite the coronavirus movement restriction?
We had to do it online. We simply had no choice. And for the mere fact that I'm in the East Rand, she's based in Pretoria. So we don't have a choice. We just had to work online. So we would work in the evenings, especially because Tazlyn was writing exams and all of that. So we had to manage our time in the evenings. But then we managed, and we'd help each other with each other's issues, and then I'll send her some of the stuff that I would find, and she'd also send me as well. So yeah, that really helped us a lot.
Okay.
And to add And to add on with what Milli said, we often discuss the case. I know a bit informally, we discuss the case a bit. I know I was very good at finding case law because I just also been staying aware of the cases that pertain, especially that were very similar to our case. And I thought that they'd be of great help to Milli. So, because my part was fairly small, all I really had to deal with the rationality and the remedy. However, I at least like pulled through and helped Milli with case law and sources and everything. And I think that really helped because we were also on the right track with our information. And we covered, I guess, majority of the spheres whereby we would get questioned on. And I think that we did so quite well.
Okay, that's quite impressive, eh? Were there any challenges that you guys faced as a team in your preparations, having been doing it online?
It was a bit challenging. I think for me, for the mere fact that it's your first moot court, you don't even know where to start. You don't know how to draft heads of arguments. Like that for me was a challenge on its own. So now you had to research, you had to look at previous moot court cases, you had to ask around so that people could help you out. But also, I think we should also acknowledge that we had a mentor who gave us a bit of a direction as to how we should go. And that really did help a little bit, yeah.
Okay. And do you have anything to add, Tazlyn?
I know on my part, what was particularly difficult was the rationality was pretty difficult for me because we had not covered rationality. And I know one of the first principles we were taught was that when it comes to working with like the law and definitions and whatnot, we need to find out definitions of certain like words from the law, and we need to like look at previous case laws and everything. So for me, it was having to learn about rationality because like it kind of does fall under one of my third year modules. So it was having to learn about rationality, having to read through or quite a bit of cases that dealt with rationality to find out more or less where the courts stand with rationality, because there wasn't any specific legislation that I could refer back to. So I had to largely rely on case law and academic sources pertaining to rationality. I think that for me, one of the most difficult parts. Again, drafting head of arguments, as Milli said, was also a very new thing to me, because even when I participated or done a little bit of participation early in the year with the Mood Society, we hadn't actually drafted like a head of argument. We had our arguments with us, but it wasn't in the form of a head of argument. So going through all of that, also knowing what to say, I think that at the stage that I'm at, I don't have that much knowledge about like the legal language. It's something that was very difficult for me because I thought, what if I say something and it doesn't sound professional enough, or it just doesn't, I guess, sound legal enough, if that makes sense. So that for me was the challenges that I faced.
But then the good thing about it is that you came out strong, and now even if you face that third-year model, you're gonna ace it because now the foundation that you needed. Basically, you have the entire scope beforehand, eh?
Oh yes, I'm very, very grateful for it.
Thank you. Having been a team that participated in the very first online SABWiL Moot Court, what are your views in digital transformation of the court, so to perhaps cater for online participation in our mainstream court, post coronavirus or in the future?
Sure. I think that's a bit of a challenge. I think everyone enjoys that comfort of being around people, and you are able to express yourself better when you're around people. But also sometimes I think in our case with Moot Court, I was nervous like online. So I can't even imagine how it would have been if it was not virtual. Like it would have been a challenge, but I think everything's about adapting. adapt, you get used to it. But then that thing of being around people, I think that's what you want the most. Interacting with people is always better when you do it face to face as opposed to doing it online. So having, because I've heard of what is it, advocates and attorneys saying that they do these things online, but then yeah, it is a bit of a challenge.
So in your opinion, if it were up to you, you would have said, no, we're not doing the online thing. Let's go back to the main buildings of the court.
I think I would have wanted to be in court. I think that thing on its own, it gives you confidence and surety when you stand there and it's you and the judge, and they're able to also understand, you know, how you feel better than when you're doing it online, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I would have really loved it to be physical.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Bhila. Tazlyn, what are your views for definitely going the virtual route for our court?
I think that going the virtual route was definitely a much needed development for the courts.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when it comes to, I guess, having virtual courts, it, I guess, brings about a sense of, it makes things like a bit easier, if that makes sense, because one can still go about doing activities that we do in the court, but in like the comfort of our home. I think that it was also a much needed development, especially for especially during the pandemic, because we saw how the pandemic had drastically affected our economy, our healthcare system, and even just the lives and the health of South Africans. I think that it was a much needed development, especially in terms of safety, as well as encouraging people to actually stay at home and protect themselves, because, you know, the court could also be a space that in which the virus could spread and potentially infect other people. I think that it's also like a good advancement, because like not everyone, I guess, has access to the courts as freely as everyone else does. So maybe traveling up to court could be somewhat of an issue with some people, and they'd much rather just have it done in the comfort of their home, whereby again, they've got a reliable internet connection and devices to do so. I think that it is a good advancement. There are some issues with it, that being again connection, network, and I guess the devices, because we can't overlook the fact that most South Africans don't have access to like Wi-Fi or just even like data and whatnot. But I do think that with moving the courts online is definitely something that our courts should utilize more in future, even post COVID-19.
So you're definitely voting for the online route, eh?
I really do like it. I know it doesn't feel as good. Like Milli said, I think that there's also just something that's so exciting and makes you feel so confident when you step into the court with your robes and everything. But I think that also there's a lot of anxiety, because it's like, okay, things are real now.
Okay, guys, coming to my last question for today. What can you tell perhaps maybe a student out there who really wants to participate in moot court, but they are having other challenges, like perhaps maybe anxiety that I'm going to be doing it for the first time. I don't know where to start. What can you tell that student right now?
Well, basically, according to me, anxiety. I remember when I was doing my first year, there was a lecturer, I think he said that if you're anxious in law, then you're in trouble. Like, you're really in trouble. You need to get over the anxiety. I had anxiety for 4 years. I didn't moot until I finished my LLB studies, which is bad, honestly, because the sooner you start, it gets easier, you know. I honestly wish that I had done it throughout the 4 years that I'd been doing it, but I kept on delaying and delaying because I know taking the first step is not easy. It's not, but you have to do it. You are in this field. You don't have a choice. If you're scared now, it's gonna be worse when you are done because it's really brutal out there. So the sooner you start, the better. I was telling Tazlyn the other day that I'm proud of her because she started in her first year. By the time she's in her 4th year, she'll be properly rooted. Because another thing that I've also noticed throughout my studies was that we didn't get the opportunities to actually moot. So when you see that opportunity, take it. Like, just take it. Take the first step. That's the important thing. I always say that there's a saying that says, fear kills more dreams than failure ever does. It's actually true. Like, you need to set your fear aside. I took the first step. Take it from me. I took the first step. It was not easy, but you'll be happy of it. You'll be proud of yourself when you take the first step. It gets easier.
That's very true. We need to take the first step.
Yeah.
People who are sitting there at home, students, they need to take the first step.
You have to take
That's
the first
that's
step.
the cue that one can use.
Yeah.
Only that.
Yes. It's up
Tazlyn,
to you.
Tazlyn, what can you
Yeah.
tell that student, that very student who's anxious about starting? What can you tell her?
Well, I'd say that the anxiety and I guess the fear that you feel with mooting is something that's very natural and it's normal. I mean, we see how, like, whether it be in the media or from real life, from actual court proceedings, you know, it's very very easy to feel anxious because you see these lawyers or these people go in there and they know their stuff and they're prepared, and it is very easy to feel like, you know, you maybe are not doing enough, or that you're not wording things properly, or that you're not including as much information or necessary information. And all of that's normal. It's normal, and it's something that you really do overcome, you know. I remember as well, like, I felt very, very anxious for just presenting like my first argument to my coaches at the university, and even just sending the head of arguments to Milli. But the more you do it, the better you get, you know. We all have to start somewhere, you know, even those big shot lawyers or those big shot mooting participants who know their things all started on the ground, you know. You shouldn't see mooting as something that you need to be good at or be perfect in, because at the end of the day, it still is an experience that will greatly benefit you in future. It'll give you the experience and the knowledge that you need to represent your clients to the best of your abilities, and to even become a brilliant advocate or attorney. So I would recommend that throughout, like, despite the fear and anxiety, go for it. We all start out like that. We all are scared. I know there's not one mood participant who has not been anxious and who is still not anxious, you know. There's mooters that have been doing this for 3-4 years
Yeah.
that still get anxious.
True.
You know, and they still do brilliantly afterwards. You should never let the fear stop you from doing something, especially if you know you can do well at it. Everything that you learn, everything that the judges ask you or question you on, you should take it as a learning curve, because you can use that to better yourself and your arguments, and ultimately just become a better legal practitioner. So I would say that fear, that anxiety you feel, it's completely normal. It's valid. You shouldn't feel bad about it. All you should do is just know you're doing your best, and that's all that matters.
That's very true. do your best. That's all that matters. So, Tazlyn, are you gonna do moot court again, knowing that you are in your office here now?
I definitely will be doing moot court again next year. There were a few moot court competitions that took place this year. I will admit, like, some of them weren't really that interesting to me, but I will definitely be doing more in future, not just with my university, but with other law firms or other places that are doing moot courts similar to this, because I feel like it's a really, really good experience, and I had fun. I really had fun. Just, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work and time. Me and Milli stayed up till early hours in the morning. I remember there was one day we stayed up until 4 a.m. but all of it for me was just, it was just so worth it. Hearing those judges say, the respondents, we're so happy with your arguments, just filled me with so much. It just filled me with so much excitement and so much happiness, because all that work that we did, those hours that we spent, were not they weren't for nothing. And I definitely will be, not just for, I guess, myself, but also just help where I can as well.
Thank you, Tazlyn. Thank you, Tazlyn. Ms. Bhila, do you have any closing remarks that you would like to make on behalf of your team?
I just want to thank SABWiL for the opportunity. Honestly, there is really few platforms that actually give such an experience. Just mooting just gave us hope. I mean, we were mooting for the first time, and we won our case, and I was like, wow. So that on its own gave us hope that there's actually space for us in the legal fraternity. And also, from your previous question, mine is to just encourage people to participate in mooting. Do it as soon as you can. It's for your own benefit. You're going to be a lawyer one day, and you want to be a good lawyer. So this is the perfect platform actually for such. And for myself as an LB graduate, I don't think I would have gotten this opportunity anywhere else. So mine, I'm just grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Bhila. Thank you. Tazlyn, any closing remarks that you would like to make?
Firstly, I would also like to thank SABWiL organization for giving us this opportunity. I think it was one that greatly benefited the both of us, and I'm eternally grateful for it. The experience, the knowledge, the skills that I picked up, I think is something that will not go to waste, and something that I'll be using in the near future. I'd like to thank our applicants for putting up a very good argument with us. They did quite a good job, I would admit. I'd like to thank Advocate Patel as well. His advice that he gave us was very, very beneficial, as well as I'd like to thank all of the Chief Justices that were there, the President. I'd like to thank everyone, because the opportunity was really a good one. And again, like Milli said, I'd also encourage anyone who's watching this, regardless of if you're first year, final year, or even if you haven't started your legal studies or career yet, to watch and participate in moot as often as they can.
Thank you, Tazlyn. Again, I would like to thank you guys for making time to join us for these interviews. And I would also like to wish you the very best of luck to you, Ms. Bhila, on your search for articles and PLT, and to you, Tazlyn, for the remainder of your studies at UP. And yeah, that will be all for today. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Is it still recording? I saw a notification of something which I clicked okay on the screen. I'm not sure what it was.
I don't remember what it was as well.
with the recording?
But it's still recording.
Mhm.
Oh,
So I can pause the